I think that the meta is, when I first started doing leg locks, outside heel hooks I think were as well regarded as inside heel hooks, to some extent at least. And they sort of fell out of favor. And ankle locks were never really in favor in the new sort of like leg lock meta, so to speak. Nowadays I feel like ankle locks and outside heel hooks are definitely coming back. I spent the whole flight in watching old Eddie Cummings videos. So Shashinsky is definitely one of the guys that I'm watching, but not just him, like people like Jason Rao, Junior Casio for the Z-Lock. The way leg locks are going nowadays, we're going to see more outside leg locks, Z-Locks, outside heel hooks, ankle locks.
You ever play on your knees at all?
Well, look at what we have here. And we're back. For the OGs of the channel, you know that this is old news. Sorry Mr. Deagle, but you should have subscribed. Now I come from an era where my old coach used to tell me, scarf holds are BS, ankle locks are BS, toe holds are BS, and outside ashies were BS.
You see a lot of people almost shitting on it and saying that it's not effective anymore. I tend to disagree with that.
Which just goes to show that even so-called new modern grapplers can fall into the same trap they accuse the old Brazilian black belts of doing back in the day when they rejected leg locks, which was being close-minded to the changing of a guard. The identity of a black belt may actually be a hindrance, compromising objective judgment with your title, not conducive to having an open mind or possessing one of the most valuable assets in the sport, which is creativity. Think about if you were a 50-year-old historian and someone brings a new piece of evidence that's contrary to your whole belief system. You would have to accept that your whole worldview has been compromised. What's easier? Having to accept that you could be wrong about it and think, what else could I be wrong about? Maybe I don't know anything, or you could take the easier option and just say it's all fake news and carry on as a false authority on truth. You think if you've lived for 50 years you may think you know at least some things to make a good account of your time alive, but truthfully in an ever-expanding universe we know nothing. We are all white belts, and we should stay that way. Belts, titles, labels. These are the smoke and mirrors of our own hubris. My old coach would actively shitcan all of these techniques and brand them as a sort of low-tier rubbish jiu-jitsu, and this environment didn't allow for the natural experimentation in said positions to be able to find all these little details that could make a seemingly ineffective position or technique into an ADCC caliber submission. This also conflates and romanticizes the word jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is just an umbrella term for a governing body of cross-pollinating grappling arts. We steal from catch and we call it jiu-jitsu. We steal from wrestling and we call it jiu-jitsu. We steal from judo and we call it jiu-jitsu. This, by the way, is a great speech to steal and tell the girl who just asked you about your arte suave tattoo. In a world of charlatans, you don't know anything, none of us do. Stay open-minded, stay a white belt. With the anti-tradition gringo revolution, I believe although necessary we threw the baby out with the bathwater. The circulation of new ideas challenged the old meta, but with it we also threw out old cheesy but valuable sayings like, stay a white belt. So many of the words of our so-called credited doctors we put so much stock in has led us to believe in so much malpractice of good science, which is now why we're all walking around with boosters in our arms. Os to our so-called black belts in medicine and science. But anyways, one guy that didn't listen to what was or wasn't in favor at the time was Mateusz Zaczynski, a 28-year-old Polish grappler out of Gold Team Polska and Academia Gorilla, who was known for his devastating ankle lock in Europe. Ankle locked everyone at B-Team.
We had some kid come into practice one day and like fucking full out all of us, dude.
With a straight foot lock.
Straight foot lock, just this little like Polish kid.
Not only did he foot lock everyone, but he told the entire world. He's getting out fucking emails, called his friends and family.
Yeah, we practically put a hit out on them in practice and we just sucked everybody.
Yeah, it's always interesting when you get like, people that specialize can surprise you that this could be effective stuff.
Ankle locked William Tackett at ADCC 2022, and also leg locked the supposed unleg lockable Craig Jones. Mateusz Zaczynski ankle locked William Tackett, who beat Jason Rao, and if my MMA math checks out, can beat Jason Rao, one of the other horsemen of straight Ashi players. Just kidding. In all seriousness, although Deagle's late to the party, he had some really good insights, particularly when he talked about how all these moves work, but it's really what suits your body type.
I think it's going to become less about pursuing like optimal like meta strategies, more so about like what suits your body type better. For a long time, I feel like people like in the leg lock game, we're trying to find like what is the best position, right? Is it cross ashi? Is it 50-50? Does outside ashi suck, right? All these different questions. And I think what's coming out more and more is that all these positions are viable if you know how to use them. Outside ashi, 50-50, cross ashi. You can get good results with all these positions. You just have to understand like the game from that position. And then also you have to make choices based on like your overall strategy, your overall style, and your body type, right?
So often jiu-jitsu practitioners get caught up in what's the best move, rather than how can I make it work best for me. Just like in boxing where there are outside fighters, inside fighters, and sluggers. There is no best move in scissors paper rock, and the scissors paper rock of these styles make the fight. So we're now starting to polish up and finesse our jiu-jitsu for different situations, adapting on the fly or tailoring our games for people. Our body types, their body types, our temperament, etc. Against things like Z-locks, toe holds, and outside heel hooks, one thing I would add apart from body type, is this idea Craig explores in Just Stand Up, where he preoccupies their hands with gravity, where if they're trying to submit you they're not controlling you, and if they are controlling you they're not submitting you. He puts them in the dilemma of submission at the cost of control.
If they're on my back and I'm trying to stand, their hands are preoccupied by hanging onto me. It's sort of a different way to frame bad positions and frame back control.
You must sacrifice control for the sake of submission. A reap to an outside heel hook is so effective as the digging of the heel is being done by the reap of your legs, unlike the inside heel hook where the catch and dig require a little more finicky precision. Although very effective, there is a momentary lapse between relinquishing Achilles control and catching the heel. Whereas in the ankle lock position you do not have to relinquish control of the Achilles grip, or shotgun grip as Matthias calls it, which by the way is a strange way Europeans hold their shotguns. But anyway, cinched in from there we incrementally work our way to the submission, whereas for heel hooks or Z-locks we may have to open our Achilles control for sake of the finish. I would say there are definitely times you need to switch to the attack that makes more sense, as we're never going to have the perfect position in grappling every time and may need to opt for more of a dynamic and overwhelming offensive cycle, but I guess that again comes down to things like personality and temperament. How fast can you think? How strong are you at controlling? Are you better at cinching the ankle and incrementally wrenching it tighter and tighter whilst changing the orientation of your legs for each situation? Or are you better at moving yourself around their leg, dynamically flowing from one attack to the next? As for this McGee-style knee drop series, the sport again is at the mercy of the rules. So much of the sport was kept back by these arbitrary point scoring criteria that it took a stoner from Adelaide to expose something that I had believed for years held jiu-jitsu practitioners back in MMA for so long. But that'll be in my review coming soon, titled, Just Stand Up, Jiu-Jitsu, The Charlatans of Combat. So keep an eye out for that one. The knee drop series can be very effective, but as the rules don't encourage it, for now, it can be used much like the seated wrestle up, as a great training tool, to get more reps in certain parterre positions more often. We've all heard the story of how Nick Ortiz got hacked at the B-team, and with all these shameless jiu-jitsu practitioners still trying to get clout on TikTok even though they know about all the privacy and information they allow the CCP to accumulate, at the very least don't let that circulating shit infect you. Please, for the love of ChatGPT, put a rash guard on your internet with a VPN, especially when all of you scumbags are pirating instructionals off dodgy CCP websites. I know none of you are studying cybersecurity, but you should be. Once you're hacked, you don't exist, you're helpless. It still blows my mind how much people live their lives so vulnerable, but I guess you have to have it happen to you to really know how scary that shit is. Please get a VPN, like Surfshark. It's less than a cup of coffee a month. The CCP has already sent Joseph Chen to spy on you. Don't let him steal your identity. Plus you get access to any country's Netflix library,
all around the world.
I'll leave a link in the description below. But anyways, with this supposed new leg lock meta, that's not really new but more of a cyclical reflection of our own arrogance as practitioners, I have my own opinion on what the next counter to the leg lock meta might be, and no, it's not wedges and bolos, as there are a lot of follow-ups that a great straight ashi player can use to counter those. Can you guess what it is? Leave a comment below about what you think it might be. For those of you that want to know what I believe the new, but not really that new, leg lock meta is going to be, consider becoming a Patreon member to stay in the loop and not get held back like Mr. Deagle. 0 and 5 out of 5 European shotguns.